You know, when you rise to the top in an unconventional way, you put your life at risk. Now, there is a system to getting to the top. You are born into it, like an Elon Musk or a Trump. Uh, you go to school, you get good grades, you get a job, which stands for just over broke, and you work it to death. And you pray for unconventional success. You have a breakthrough that makes you valuable. And if you're not a team player, again, you put your life at risk. And some of the newer billionaires, like a Bankman Fried, with his crypto online to be the first trillionaire, which put him in competition with Musk and Trump, which I've always said Trump set him up through his mob connections, and that's why he's in a jail cell right now, and will stay in a jail cell for the next 25 years for bank fraud. And I don't agree or believe that he's 100% guilty. When you have that kind of money, uh, it goes through a lot of hands, and you don't control all those hands. And you sign a lot of paperwork, and you can't possibly read all that you sign. You know, the statement when you make a signature on a contract or a check, people haphazardly, half kidding, say, I'm signing my life away. Well, Beckman Fried could have possibly have done that. Signed something he didn't know what he was signing, which was a transfer of money, which made him guilty of bank fraud. And I don't believe he's guilty. He had too much money. He didn't need to steal money. It wasn't like he needed to do it. So I don't think it was his intent to do it. And when you have that kind of money, you do move it around, but it might look nefarious when it's not. You know, a lot of those kinds of people with that kind of money rob Peter to pay Paul. Uh, you know, what was the old trick with balance transfer on your credit cards? Build up a balance, and when the interest rate kicks in, you balance transfer it to a card that has zero interest, and you keep it there until that interest goes away and starts to kick in, and then you transfer it to another card with zero balance, zero interest, and it's a game, shuffle. It's a shuffle game, and those rich people play that game all day long, every day. You know, I know a guy that I know of a guy that worked for an owner of McDonald's. They own like 10 or 12 McDonald's, and his only job was bringing money from one bank to another bank to another bank because back then the FDIC only insured $100,000. So they had it all spread out in case of a bank failure. They wouldn't lose everything. You know, Now it's up to 250 since the crash of 2008. Uh, so, but it's just a game. It's a shuffle game. It's a shell game, and that's what they do. But back to how you get there. Bankman Fried didn't get there in the conventional way. He created something that was very valuable, and he didn't need to play to the Black Ops. He didn't need their permission to do what he did. And the Black Ops, I mean the Masons, the Deep State, he went around them. And he was making himself a player in their game, but he had no backing. He was giving money to politicians to have them purposely go against Trump. And he was giving mega amounts of money. Politicians were going into his office and coming out with uh, envelopes, many envelopes. So, and as a good politician, they took the money and did whatever they wanted once they left. And it was Democrat and Republican. And I know Trump got wind of it, and that was his motive for taking down Bankman-Fried. So that's why I don't trust the whole conviction. And then there was that girl that came up with the blood test, and she became a billionaire. I forget the name of the company, but they made a movie about her. It was recent, a blonde girl, and another unconventional way of breaking the ceiling. And I don't know that her test was a fraud. Whether it was or wasn't, I don't know. But the fact that she broke the ceiling of the pharmaceutical industry on her own and went around their system of conventional ways to get to the top. Now, when I say conventional ways to get to the top, I mean you are vetted, you are put through the ringer, and if you don't pass every single test that they put you through, you don't get to, to that point. And these unconventional people go around that whole system, and they don't like that. And they take you down when you do that because the pharmaceutical industry and Trump controls those systems and the mob. They control those systems. And when you go around those systems, they figure out a way to get you, which they did. She's in jail for I don't know how long, but for a long time. Now, neither one killed anybody or did anything like that, uh, but it's just they circumvented the system, like I did with my God code. I'm living here in government housing, and I'm sitting on a multi-trillion-dollar God code. And when it hits big, which it will, uh, I will no longer be living in government housing. So they think. The thing is, and the difference between me and a Bankman Fried and this other girl is that I'm free. I don't need money. You know, I have no bills. I'm free. I don't work a job. I haven't worked a job in 25 years. And I'm not part of the system you're a part of. And because I don't live in a box that you live in. And Bankman Fried, no matter how much money he had, he lived in a box. The, the first trillionaire box, that was his box. That put him in a very dangerous box. And the girl was one of the first billionaires to make it big in the pharmacy industry. And, you know, I don't think they'll end Bankman Fried in jail, end his life, because they already got him in jail. They don't need to. And that's why they put him in jail too. Because they can't end their lives because it'd be too political, like an Epstein. Epstein didn't kill himself, we all know that. And it's very political, it's very suspicious, and we know something dirty was done there. And I don't think he's dead at all. I think he's living on an island somewhere, slipping, drinking Mai Tais. But, you know, I just, and that's why they can't kill Maxine, because they did that extremely political. And they gave her a cushy deal to keep her mouth shut. You know, when you play in that arena, the boys, when you swim in a pool of sharks, you have to be a shark. Otherwise, you will be eaten alive. Bankman and this other girl, they weren't sharks. They got eaten alive. And not much they can do about it now.